Do you ever wish you could be 16 again?
Oh, that's a frightful notion.
Forget ghosts, zombies, clowns, and whatever this is. Nothing is scarier than growing up.
It's just like the more I know, the more confused I get.
I believe that's called growing up.
I'd like to stop then, okay.
Starting in 1997, following the 1992 movie, Buffy the Vampire Slayer captured this truth in the story of Buffy Summers, the Slayer who has been chosen to protect the universe from vampires and other supernatural evils.
I was afraid that I was going to be behind in all my classes, that I wouldn't make any friends, that I would have last month's hair. I didn't think there'd be vampires on campus.
If you look closer, Buffy's journey is an allegory for the horrifying process of coming of age. The monsters Buffy and the Scooby Gang face are metaphors for the challenges we face on the scary road to adulthood.
Well, basically, the she-mantis assumes the form of a beautiful woman and then lures innocent virgins back to her nest.
But the show suggests that we all have the power of the Slayer inside of us, ready to vanquish the demons of adolescence.
Need a hand?
No, thanks. I'm good.
So here's our take on the monsters of teenhood and how to summon our inner Buffy. This video is brought to you by Skillshare, a learning platform that offers thousands of online classes to fuel your creativity and career. Right now, Skillshare is offering our viewers 2 months access to all their classes for free. So click the link in the description below to sign up now.
From beneath you, it devours.
The story of this teen girl battling agents of darkness is a stand-in for every teen's experience fighting the evils of puberty before learning to embrace their true destiny. Buffy's high school is literally the mouth of hell.
The Spanish who first settled here called it Boca del Infierno, roughly translated Hellmouth. It's a sort of portal between this reality and the next.
The Hellmouth is specifically located under the school's library, playing on the high school students' anxieties about books and studying.
See, this is a school, and we have students, and they check out books, and then they learn things.
I was beginning to suspect that was a myth.
The monsters the Scooby Gang face symbolize obstacles all young adults can relate to, like peer pressure and teen drinking.
You stupid.
Now you stupid.
When an enchanted beer turns Buffy into a caveman,
Buffy want beer.
No, you can't have beer.
Want beer.
this is exactly how a young person might act after imbibing too much alcohol. The fear of alienation is represented in out of mind, out of sight, when a girl becomes invisible due to being ignored by her peers.
We all want what you have, to be noticed, remembered, to be seen.
Throughout the series, common teen issues are made literal in this way.
She said I was wasting my youth. So she took it.
When Principal Wood says faculty who try to make friends with students will get eaten alive,
Trust me, you open that door and these students will eat you alive.
Buffy remembers the principal who was actually devoured by possessed students.
You heard about Principal Flutie, right?
Recurring monsters symbolize central challenges of growing up.
Get out of here!
What's wrong?
Werewolves are metaphors for puberty. They depict the inner chaos a teenager feels when they can't control their own body.
3 days out of the month. I'm not much fun to be around either.
Witches are a metaphor for the exploration of female identity.
It could be witches, some evil witches, which is ridiculous because witches, they were persecuted, wicked, good, and love the earth and women power, and I'll be over here.
As Willow starts to learn the art of witchcraft, she gains a certain confidence in her feminine being. Witchcraft also acts as an independent power. Instead of always relying on Buffy or Xander to save her, Willow can now save them.
Oh, I'm not acting out. I'm a witch. I can make pencils float.
Willow's strengthening witch abilities also reveal her communion to like-minded women.
It's a test of synchronicity. Our minds have to be perfectly attuned to work as a single delicate implement. Cool.
Which leads her to realizing and embracing her sexual orientation. In addition to this positive metaphorical meaning of witchcraft, in the later seasons it turns into something else, a parallel to addiction. Willow cannot stop strengthening her magic abilities. She returns to magic again and again until it turns her into a literal monster. Xander, Willow's oldest childhood friend, confronts her and reminds her that she is not her addiction.
I love you. I love crayon breaky Willow, and I love scary veiny Willow.
Still, as is true for most addicts, she continues to struggle with the temptation of relapsing.
Last time I tried using magic, I felt it just surging through me in pure, undiluted evil.
But over time, she finds a path to recovery in the comfort of her friends and normalcy.
I want to be Willow.
You are. In the end, we all are who we are. No matter how much we may appear to have changed.
Vampires, as in many other stories, represent sexuality. It's no mistake that they enter Buffy Summers' life when she turns 15, a common age at which a girl might start to explore her sexual nature.
Maybe I like you.
Vampires have always been a metaphor for sex. They can only come out at night, they desire human flesh, and in exchange of bodily fluids,
I've never wanted a human's blood so much in my life.
And they should only come to you with your consent.
A vampire can't come in unless it's invited.
Vampire fiction of the Victorian era, like Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula, caught the public imagination, but in that time, sex was painted as fearsome and repulsive. Likewise, 1922's unofficial silent adaptation Nosferatu showed the Dracula figure as rat-like. But in the later half of the 20th century, vampire fiction and film and TV started to paint the vampire as an anti-hero or hero, with tragic romance, glamour, and undeniable sex appeal.
This is what I am.
It's like diamonds. You're beautiful.
Buffy stands out not only for prefiguring the vampire madness that would later seize our culture, but also for using the figure to honestly demonstrate a young person's first experiences with sex.
Maybe we should.
Don't. Just kiss me.
In its rawest form, sexuality can be selfish, impulsive, and cruel. Vampires in Buffy have no filter or concern for others, and they act out of pure, vain desire.
We could be quite a team. If you came around to my way of thinking, what do you say?
The girls on the show have their first dating experiences with vampires.
Never take me anyplace new.
What about that fire demon nest in the cave by the beach? Thought that was a nice change of pace.
And those experiences end badly. The vampires pretend to be human, seduce the girls, then show their true face. This echoes the fear young people, especially young girls, have of being used for sex.
Only thing you're thinking about is how long before you can jump on my bone.
Buffy's sexual exploration is mapped onto vampires. It begins with Angel. His very name, Angel, alludes to the larger-than-life ecstasy of a first love, which can feel positively heavenly, while on the other hand, the downs are equally extreme.
You can never understand what I've done. Now go.
You are not staying here. I won't let you.
Angel turns into the cruel and cold-hearted Angelus as a direct result of having sex with Buffy. This expresses the concern that sex could change a person or relationship.
Let's not make an issue out of it, okay? In fact, let's not talk about it at all.
Was it me? Was I not good?
The story of the human and vampire falling in love has been used as an analogy for separation, difference in backgrounds, or other impenetrable obstacles.
Some people freak out a bit about the age difference. They think, what's this 96-year-old lady doing with a guy 4 times her age?
But Buffy's and Angel's star-crossed relationship is one of the most enduring examples of this trope. Why?
Because I want you so badly. I want to take comfort in you. And I know it'll cost me my soul, and a part of me doesn't care.
On a story level, there's a fascinating irony in the idea that experiencing the pure happiness of love with Buffy rescues Angel from the curse that gave him a soul, but this very gift turns him back into a soulless monster. This captures how adult life is defined by tough choices and not being able to get what you want.
This isn't some fairy tale. When I kiss you, you don't wake up from a deep sleep and live happily ever after.
And on the symbolic and emotional levels, the Buffy and Angel drama is relatable because it's about the adolescent struggle to balance growing up and sexuality.
You're not friends. You'll never be friends. You'll fight, and you'll shag, And you'll hate each other till it makes you quiver, but you'll never be friends.
The show suggests true maturity also has a moral component. According to show creator Joss Whedon, vampires are incapable of moral development. So, in other words, they can't grow up.
Things change.
Not us! Not demons!
The more adult she becomes, the harder it is for Buffy to stay with Angel. She eventually must kill him. And this selfless choice, putting the world over her own desires, is key to her development. Although Angel is resurrected, their relationship never returns to its carefree, innocent, original state.
I hate that it's so hard. And that you can hurt me so much. I know everything that you did because you did it to me.
And to really grow up, Buffy must let go of a boy who never can.
You still my girl.
Always.
Buffy's sexual experimentation progresses in college with human boys Parker and Riley. Both subtly justify Buffy's relationship hang-up stemming from Angel, the fears of abandonment, and of being used for sex.
You had fun. Is that all it was?
What else was it supposed to be?
Then, with the vampire Spike, Buffy experiences sexuality totally divorced from love.
I knew the only thing better than killing a Slayer would be...
This relationship is pure lust, and it establishes the important difference between lust and love.
Spike, I want you.
Buffy is only with him to feel something after being resurrected.
He's everything I hate. The only time that I ever feel anything is when...
The issue of consent is also raised in this chapter. Spike is so unhinged by his selfishness, he attacks and attempts to rape Buffy. This is the darkest version of sexuality, stripped down to a point of pure conceit, immaturity, and total disrespect. On the surface, the ironically named Sunnydale looks like a happy, carefree California city. In reality, it's an actual hellhole that attracts a never-ending supply of demons.
We're proud to say that the class of '99 has the lowest mortality rate of any graduating class in Sunnydale history.
This disconnect between inner and outer is something adolescents relate to. They're under pressure to look like they have it all together as they prepare for college or jobs, while inside their hormones are raging, and it may feel like the universe is falling apart.
This is just too much. I mean, yesterday my life's like, uh-oh, pop quiz. Today it's rain of toads.
Later on, the show tackles the difficulty of living with a roommate. Buffy's college roommate, Kathy, is rude and off-putting, even though she seems normal and friendly to everyone else.
She irons her jeans. She's evil.
Buffy discovers Kathy is actually a two-faced Moktagar demon who's gradually sucking Buffy's soul as she sleeps, just as any college student feels drained by sharing a room with someone they can't stand.
Maybe the world revolved around you where you used to live, but it's share time now.
Kathy's soul-sucking is motivated by her own anxiety that her parents will discover where she's run off to and force her to come home. In the end, Kathy's traditionalist demon father makes his daughter give up her education. This touches on a common theme of imperfect parents.
I gave you birth. I gave up my life so you could drag that worthless carcass around and call it living.
Adults can often feel like monsters to teenagers. Mayor Wilkins, who represents corrupt politics, actually becomes a giant snake. But Buffy the Vampire Slayer tried to articulate that adults aren't that different from children.
I'm not supposed to have a private life?
No, because you're very, very old and it's gross.
In the Season 3 episode Band Candy, the vampire Mr. Trick distributes candy that makes adults act like teenagers. The usually reserved Giles and Joyce now act rebellious, angsty, and completely immature.
So how come they call you Ripper?
What would you like to know? Wait a minute, listen to this bit.
The curse illuminates that no one ever truly grows up. We get better at controlling ourselves, but that inner child stays in there somewhere.
4 dicks?
This heroine's journey of teenhood is closely attached to the high school itself. The show starts when Buffy begins Sunnydale, after being expelled from her last school.
But you're not seeing the big picture here. I mean, that gym was full of vampire...
Asbestos.
Her graduation into adulthood is marked by the first destruction of the high school. During this climax, Buffy gives up her childish conceits, like wanting to run away from her Slayerhood and let go of her first love. In the end, Buffy must annihilate the whole town, representing how the adult must finally leave her youth behind in the past.
Yeah, Buffy. What are we gonna do now?
In every generation, there is a chosen one. She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness. She is the Slayer.
The underlying message of Buffy the Vampire Slayer's Allegory is that we can all be the Slayers in our own lives. The series interprets Slayerhood as a metaphor for self-acceptance, which is what growing up is all about.
No weapons, no friends, no hope. Take all that away, and what's left?
Me.
The Slayer is Buffy Summers' alter ego, except unlike for Superman, there is no costume. Buffy is always the Slayer.
Clark Kent has a job. I just want to go on a date.
At first, she's determined to hide this part of herself from her mother and classmates.
Oh, Summers, you were turning me on.
Insecurity is a hallmark of teenhood.
Your basic spells are usually only about 50-50.
Well, so's your face.
What?
Buffy is insecure that people will not like her real self. She also has no idea who that person is.
I'm cookie dough. I'm not done baking. I'm not finished becoming whoever the hell it is I'm gonna turn out to be.
To her, Slayerhood is something that gets in the way of normal life, not something to be proud of.
I would love to be upstairs watching TV or gossiping about boys or, God, even studying. But I have to save the world. Again.
At first, like many teens, she dreams of being someone else.
I just wanted to be a real girl for once. Kind of fancy girl you liked when you were my age.
In Season 2's Halloween, Buffy dresses up as a normal girl from the 18th century when Angel was alive, but her magical costume transforms her into an actual damsel.
I was brought up a proper lady. I wasn't meant to understand things. I'm just meant to look pretty and then someone nice will marry me. Possibly a baron.
And Buffy realizes that being the normal girl isn't as great as she thought. Buffy echoes many teens' long paths to accepting themselves. Each of her deaths symbolizes a death in the denial of her identity.
I don't care. Giles, I'm 16 years old. I don't want to die.
In Season 1, she puts the good of the world over her own life, and this ends her illusions that she could escape being the Slayer. In Season 5, Buffy's death represents the final death of her insecurity. She embraces that being the Slayer is not a curse, but a gift.
Death is your gift.
Death
is your gift.
The Allegory's message comes full circle when Buffy shares her gift with all the women of the world. Through this act, the show articulates that every girl holds the Slayer's strength inside of her, if she can only see it.
I say my power should be our power. From now on, every girl in the world who might be a Slayer will be a Slayer.
If we just embrace who we are, we have the power to fight our personal demons, be cool and capable like Buffy, take on the world's problems, and yes, even survive high school.
If the apocalypse comes, beat me.
Last but not least, Buffy the Vampire Slayer underlines the impact of the Scooby Gang in Buffy's life. This close circle of loved ones differentiates her from past Slayers and makes her a stronger human being. Finding people who get the real you and support you through dark times is the key to making adolescence a little less hellish.
And what are we if not women up to a challenge?
Exactly. I mean, did we not put the "gur" in girl?
This video is sponsored by Skillshare, an online learning community we love, with thousands of classes taught by seasoned pros. With Skillshare, you can hone your creativity through a class on street photography, creative nonfiction writing, or character animation. You can learn to succeed in business with classes on how to build your Instagram following, create viral content, or manage your finances. You can master new technology through classes on website design and coding basics. You can even add some flavor to your lifestyle by learning to brew brew your own beer or bake your own bread. Or you can check out homestyle expert Emily Henderson's class on finding your signature interior style. It's sure to bring any space back from the dead.
Right now, Skillshare is offering our viewers 2 months access to all their classes for free. Just click the link in the description below to check it out today.